Welcome to another episode of TeeVo and the Beard.
You cannot see it this time, but maybe one day you will. I don't know. But I am TeeVo,
Okay.
and that is the beard.
Okay, there you go. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody. We ended it on a sad one.
We did.
This is not a particular episode we really want to make.
Right.
But in the sense
but
of
we'll get to that.
In the sense of, the main thing we'll talk about. We hope to never talked about, but
Yeah.
here we are in life, and life goes.
Yes. But we'll also be talking about Rogue One.
Yes.
Yes. And so there is good parts to the new year.
There's always good and bad, but
Yeah.
we always have to talk about the bad sometimes.
But it is all tied together.
Yes.
As is my first icebreaker for the new year.
Okay.
Which is a positive. Actually, it's kind of a neutral note. A neutral icebreaker.
And just so you know, I have been to the movies many times
Mhm.
during this time we've been gone, and there have been no unruly parents.
Good.
So,
Good.
good.
Yeah.
For me.
I had a really good experience when I saw Rogue
Good.
One. So.
What you were saying?
Yeah, we'll get into that. My the first icebreaker of 2017 here is: do you see a difference in films between Easter eggs and like in-universe fan service, so to speak?
What do you mean?
I mean, like let's take Star Trek for
All
example. The 2009 one.
All right.
It's a well-known Easter egg at this point that R2-D2 is in
Yes.
that. But
Yes.
R2-D2 is not part of the Star Trek universe.
For now.
For now. Right, yeah. But J.J. Abrams, of course, being a fan of both, wanted to put that in there.
Yes. It's very tiny.
Right.
One of those, you miss it, it doesn't affect your life
Right,
one way
yeah.
or the other.
Yeah, you miss it, you miss it. If you see it, you see it, you know. But then you have something like, and this doesn't, we'll get into the spoiler part of Rogue One. We'll give a warning before we get into
Okay.
that. This quote-unquote Easter egg doesn't ruin anything, but I've heard people call the fact that there's blue milk sitting in a glass in Rogue One as an Easter egg, where I consider that more of a just in-universe thing, you know. What are your feelings towards stuff like that?
Well, both.
Both?
It's both.
It's both?
It
Okay.
is in the universe.
Right.
So seeing it is not that weird.
Mhm.
However, it is a clear nod to,
Right.
where we seen it first. So kind of both.
Okay.
I'd say if it's within the universe, sure.
Mhm.
I'd say like those really hardcore Easter eggs are for like let's see, comic book movies
Mhm.
where they reference things that haven't happened yet and
Okay.
could potentially happen,
Mhm.
like everything Marvel has done,
Right.
you know? And sometimes those Easter eggs led to something, or
Mhm.
they didn't. They were just there for people who would know what it is.
Okay.
Like your Star Trek one.
Right.
It's whatever.
Mhm.
You miss it, you miss it. You did, you didn't, you didn't.
Yeah.
Well, with something like, Star Wars, all the Easter eggs are going to be things that are clearly fan service because they're only going to reference things that we have seen.
Okay. Yeah. Good point.
So, they can't predict something in the future, because at that point, it'd be foreshadowing,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I had
Well,
I had a icebreaker for us.
Okay.
Thought of it yesterday.
Mhm.
So, what do you think of when fandoms clash together? When do you think it's a good time to mix things up and a bad time?
Okay. Now, when you say fandoms, are you referring to like the, like in comic books, the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover? Or are you talking about fandoms as in the people that represent the fandoms, like the normal everyday people, not the characters?
People.
People?
Yeah, every day.
Everyday people?
Yeah. Because I saw a picture of someone at a Harry Potter party
Okay.
sporting Doctor Who stuff.
Okay.
And it's one of those
Yeah.
times it's like, no,
Yeah, no, that
don't
doesn't-
do
that doesn't work.
That's the opposite of what this is not,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if, J.K. Rowling and, the producers of Doctor Who decides to
Mhm.
do that, then
Right.
sure.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
But, to purposely go to a Harry Potter themed party
Yeah.
and bring Doctor Who apparel,
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like, for me, it's a faux pas to me. It's
Oh,
like
totally.
It's like if I were to go see the new Guardians of the Galaxy, and I wear a Batman shirt. I don't like that.
Now, see, I still see that as a faux pas, like you were saying, but I see that as a less extreme one.
It's a less extreme one, but
as Doctor Who,
or just bring Doctor Who stuff.
Right.
I think I saw a picture of this person bring their sonic screwdriver to a Harry Potter party in lieu of a wand.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking you could have just brought nothing.
Yeah, when you know good and well what you're going into, and that's someone who purposely did that.
Yeah.
That would be like, wearing a Tauntaun costume to a Star Trek convention.
Yeah.
They don't go together. But if it's a, science fiction convention, or in the case of your example, if it's like a, British entertainment convention, then sure, And then if you end up being the only one, sporting the sonic screwdriver amongst a bunch of Harry Potters, that's fine if it's not specifically Harry Potter. But
what do you think about? What are your thoughts? Do you clash fandoms, or are you kind of what is?
I've been known to clash fandoms at home. I don't always care what I'm wearing. I have quite a few Firefly shirts, and if I'm watching Star Trek, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna specifically, dress or surround myself with things that I'm also watching.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I was to go out to a Firefly shindig, I'm not going to wear a Star Trek shirt.
Yes.
So I'm not going to purposely I'm either going to wear a Firefly shirt or wear regular clothes.
Yes.
I'm not going to purposely set myself that far apart from, what I'm going into. So yeah, I think bad clashing should not be done.
Yes. I thought of that, yesterday when I saw said pictures. That's no.
Yeah,
that's a faux pas for me. But but this person wears Star Wars shoes with Green Lantern rings and Harry Potter shirts. And Avengers bracelets. So
I'm 99% sure who you're talking about.
I'm making it very clear.
Yeah,
but hey, if that's the fandom, sure. But just say that's a faux pas for me.
Yeah, no.
The whole stick with one thing.
Yeah.
I feel bad if I wear Star Wars underwear if I have an Avenger shirt on.
Okay.
And in my head I'm like, well, they're both owned by Disney, but it just if I'm gonna be an Avenger today, I'm gonna be an Avenger.
No, I do agree with that, because I'll even go as far as if I'm on Instagram and your Instagram is dedicated to the DC comic universe. If you start posting Avengers on there or something like that, I think that's bad there. That's a bad clash.
Yeah.
It's if you're going to do a certain thing, then do it. And kind of leave the other stuff to other fans.
Or just just put it in the holster for the for the how many hours you're going to be at said thing, or just
Yeah.
But that's just me. That is my rant.
Yeah. No.
But this time it's not about unruly parents.
That's true. Yeah. No.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But speaking.
We'll start with we'll go from the bad news to the good news.
So it's pretty known at this point to everybody in pop culture, really.
In pop culture, not just nerds,
not just the geek culture, not just nerds, but we lost Carrie Fisher. She had a heart attack a few days before she died, and that was the worst part. Was the calm before the storm,
right?
Because it reported she had a massive heart attack on her plane from London to LA. And, we were like, oh God, is she going to be okay?
Right.
She did not die that day.
No.
And that gave us hope.
Right.
Which is ironically her last line in Rogue One.
Yeah.
It gave us hope that, okay, people have recovered from stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And we even got most of us were checking daily to see what was going on.
And people like her brother, Debbie Reynolds, her daughter were reporting that she was doing okay.
Right.
Again, gave us hope.
Condition.
Gave us hope.
And we were like, 2016, you are not taking this one.
And unfortunately, they did.
Right.
And we lost Carrie Fisher. And even sadder along that, we lost Debbie Reynolds the very next day.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, the connection between the two of them, that's mother and daughter.
Right.
So, I just couldn't help but feel really bad for Billy Lord.
Yeah.
To lose your mother and then your grandmother.
Yeah, within less than 48 hours.
Less than 48 hours. And then I started feeling bad for the brother. because I'm thinking if I were her son, and that's my sister,
Yeah.
and it's very much reported that Debbie Reynolds essentially just gave up,
Right.
and I'm thinking, I'm here too.
Yeah.
I'm here too, but okay, sure.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. What is your favorite Carrie Fisher moment?
My favorite Carrie Fisher moment.
And we can go. I hate there are people who want to point out that they've been fans of Carrie Fisher way before, or not just because of Star Wars,
Right.
And that seems a little pretentious to me.
Yeah. And
it's like if you're a fan of Carrie Fisher, most of her work is going to be Star Wars,
Right. Yeah.
She has come to full terms with that.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Princess Leia, or if you like Carrie Fisher and her other films, whatever,
Yeah. I mean, of course, Princess Leia is my.
But I just hate people who want to point out that that it's not just Star Wars. She wasn't just Princess Leia to me.
Right. Yeah. But when I made a little post about her passing away, I specifically said that I'm not sure which movie I saw first, whether it was Blues Brothers or A New Hope, but I do remember her in Blues Brothers.
I do remember
as
her too.
The crazy woman in there with the shotgun, the flamethrower, all that, and so I'm not sure which one I saw first because they both came out around in the 80s, and I grew up, not seeing Star Wars in theaters. I saw it on VHS, just like I saw Blues Brothers on VHS. But yeah, if I had to pick a role that wasn't Star Wars, I would have to say her role in Blues Brothers was definitely my top one. But I will always see her as Princess Leia, and since Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie, I will always see her as gold bikini Princess Leia.
And I think she came to terms with that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One of my favorite interviews when they were doing press for Force Awakens, she was on Graham Norton.
Yeah.
And she was saying how just the type of fans she encountered. Like she said, she remembered talking to one guy that says, hey, I thought of you every day from when I was X amount of age to X amount of age. And then she said, oh, that's nice. And then he uncomfortably elaborated on it. It's like, actually, I thought of you 4 times a day.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, okay. And then she looked over to Daisy Ridley going, and that's what you're going to live through now.
Yep.
Stuff like that. And I guess with mine, I mean, again, with you, I mean, she is Princess Leia.
Yeah.
General Leia. She is Leia.
Even when I read the Princess Leia comic book or any of the Star Wars comics, I see Carrie. I kind of hear Carrie Fisher's voice in my head when I read her parts.
But for me, other roles, I mean, she's done a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like I agree with Blues Brothers. I remember her cameo in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh,
that was pretty funny. I thought so. She did some good voiceover work for Family Guy.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it, made it funny that was Carrie Fisher saying these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I remember her.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she is and always will be Princess Leia.
I love that in our town that there are billboards, the electronic ones that recognize. Have you seen them? I
haven't, no.
There are some that have a picture of Carrie Fisher that says, "May the Force be with her," and with her, birth year and, expert.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I mean, first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that's great. That, it's more than just... it's more than just people who watch Star Wars who recognize it. It's it's a real thing.
Right, yeah. And what I also appreciated about Carrie Fisher is she was a script doctor. So there's a lot that we've seen out there that we didn't know she had a role in, including Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrible for me, at least. Because while it was super sad, and, it was sad on many levels because, like we said, there was hope. Right. It wasn't like, say, George Michael.
Right.
Who died before she did. One day George Michael was alive.
Right.
And then he died. With Carrie Fisher, it was like we were constantly monitoring her status.
We almost watched it
happen,
yeah.
So that's, that's where it just took more people, I think. I thought of a lot of many things, but one of the main things that stuck around was the fate of Episode 9.
Yes.
And I felt bad about
Yeah.
thinking about that.
But you kind of have to.
But I do.
Yeah.
And I got over feeling bad because, that's just, at least for Star Wars fans, that's where the fandom is. We care about her because of these movies.
It is important too,
It's important to us, and I'm pretty sure in some ways it was important to her too.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she would have done 7 if Star Wars wasn't important to her.
That's true.
So,
of course, could have paid her a lot.
That's true too.
But I think that's more Harrison Ford territory.
That's it. Yeah.
I think she really did care.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Harrison Ford does care, but I'm pretty sure the paycheck does
he
not.
He cares more about the paycheck than the fandom, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's all. That's fine. That's
Well, he died, so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Right. We're talking about the character there. Not
Harrison Ford.
Don't anybody.
Han Solo died.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
He definitively can say no more Star Wars.
Right.
But beyond that, I was talking to certain people, and maybe because I was feeling a little raw, but the day she died, I remember talking to the person who clashed, by the way.
Okay.
I was thinking, what are they going to do about episode 9? And first of all, I love how people don't understand between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of people saying like, oh, she finished. No,
that's
she
8.
filmed 8.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 9.
Yeah.
Are we confused about numbers or orders? Because Force Awakens was 7.
Well, George Lucas does confuse us with numbers.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I thought between Star Wars people, we would understand.
Right.
That's just my assumption.
Yeah, if you claim that you're a fan, then you should know how to count 7, 8, 9.
Yes. Because, Force Awakens was 7.
Mm-hmm.
They finished 8. Mm-hmm. They haven't started 9.
Right.
That's where I'm wondering. I'm okay with whatever they done for 8.
Right.
But 9 is where I was wondering. And a lot of people, surprisingly, are like, oh, they already finished.
No. Not even close.
No, they haven't started.
Right.
They finished 8. But I was wondering, what are they going to do for 9?
Right.
And the first person I asked this, they said, well, they could just Rogue One her. I was like, no. Well, first of all, we don't know if she dies in 8. She could die.
Right.
We don't know that. We don't even know anything that's going to go on in 8 besides lightsabers.
Right. Yeah. There's probably gonna be some Jedi.
Yeah. But we don't know what they had in store for her for episode 8.
Right.
So she could die, or they could edit things around it. We don't know.
Right.
That's the beauty of Star Wars. We just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike with comic book movies, we generally know.
Yeah, we have an idea.
We have the arc where they're going. With Star Wars, it's all fresh.
Yeah, you don't really have to worry about Iron Man
Yeah.
when you see him get in trouble.
Exactly. So I was like, no, don't. To CGI her whole performance? No. And then I thought that was bad. But then I talked to the spirit we call Mike.
Oh.
He had a better answer.
Okay.
Oh, this was his answer when I brought the same question. Oh, and then and then I think he too was like, oh, they already finished. No.
It's bad when you have to keep explaining that.
They finished 8.
Mm-hmm.
But his answer was, and I'm fully, I don't remember 100%, but I just remember this part. So I asked, I wonder what they're going to do for episode 9 with her. Oh, they could just, put her in a spaceship and blow it up. What?
Whoa.
What?
Wow. No.
And this was like maybe a day after or 2 days. Like, no. What are you people talking about?
Right.
Or at least come up with respectful ways to.
Yeah. Yeah.
The less harshest one was my roommate who said they could recast her. I said, they could.
Yeah.
It probably will not be well received, but as opposed to the answers of CGIing her or blowing her up.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah. It's definitely the less extreme of the 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what do you think they should do with episode 9? Because I did talk about with some people who came with happy mediums. Mm-hmm. But what do you think first?
I think that they should edit around 8 where that she doesn't have to die in 8.
Yeah.
But she can retire or go off somewhere, Right. I mean, she's lost Han.
Yes.
So that could really affect her. And she can just, take herself out of the narrative, so to speak.
Again, we don't know.
Right. And that could just be exactly what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or she could have died. But these stories have been made way before her death. So,
Yeah.
I thought of very similar.
Mm-hmm.
They could always use deleted scenes of Force Awakens in episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is not like a good way to segue her off, they could CGI her in the form of a hologram.
Right. Yeah.
And
She's been a hologram before.
She's been a hologram before. They could end it with a hologram so that it doesn't look painfully obvious that it's not the actual actor.
Right.
Because holograms aren't,
Yeah.
they're not supposed to be that lifelike.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that.
Okay.
And that's a happy medium.
Oh, definitely.
You could CGI her, but unlike with General Tarkin.
Yeah. Which would definitely.
Or even her cameo.
Yeah.
Or quote unquote cameo in Rogue One, where it doesn't look so painfully obvious.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's what I thought.
No,
but again, we don't know anything.
We don't know. Yeah, this is all pure amateur speculation.
And I'm pretty sure Disney and the people at Lucasfilm are thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I thought of this. I feel bad for J.J. Abrams in a sense of he produces both Star Wars and Star Trek now. He has to deal with the next film without a core actor.
Yeah. On both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
But he's already fully said that, he's not recasting Anton Yelchin.
Right.
But, you have to continue the Star Trek franchise without a key member.
Yeah.
What do you do? We don't know.
You got to put someone in his... You got to... within the Star Trek universe, somebody would have to be hired to take his place there.
And then now he has to deal with... unless they already did that in 8.
Right.
Again, we don't know. But he has to deal with, what do we do respectfully and will be well received with the loss of, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
And there have been great artwork. Before we talk about Rogue One, there have been some really good artwork of, very sad, passing. And, I think the most popular one is the Force Ghost of Leia with,
I've seen that one, yeah.
But... I don't like though. Because Leia, for all we know, is not dead.
Right.
Leia is still
very much alive.
Very much
as
alive.
Far as we know.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
And we'll know in December 2017.
Yeah.
But those pictures, I was like, they don't do anything for me.
Right, because that becomes it talking about the character, not the person anymore.
Yeah, I think...
I think it's... from an aesthetic point of view, they are very well done.
Yeah, and I've seen drawn ones with like Chewie mourning both Han and Leia.
Yeah.
Which were great, and I understand the sentiment, but for me, it's like, but
you're no longer talking about Carrie Fisher at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrie is gone. I think we should talk about more of that. No, I get the sentiment, but Leia, for all we know, is still alive.
Right, yeah.
So
don't mourn the character yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Han is still on the table.
Yeah, Han you can mourn, but...
Han we can still mourn until forever and ever. But
you can mourn Yoda, you can mourn Han, you can mourn...
Obi-Wan, Anakin, and... for all the stormtroopers that gave up their lives.
Right, yeah, the hundreds of thousands of stormtroopers.
Until we get a concrete answer, I think we should, we should still celebrate Leia.
Right, yeah.
Not mourn her.
Because that's what Carrie Fisher would want,
yes.
I think.
We can mourn Carrie Fisher, but Leia is still on the table.
Yeah, celebrate her work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think this was easier to talk about because when we did our Ron Glass one, I think Ron just passed away.
Yeah.
At least with Carrie, we had time to collect our thoughts.
Yeah.
If we had recorded this the day after Carrie died, I think it would have been a very somber.
No, yeah. That would have been the entire episode.
Yeah.
Right there. There would have been no Rogue One.
But we miss you, Carrie Fisher. We're glad that your mother can join you.
Yes.
So you have company.
Yes.
And you know what? May the Force be with you.
So, but on to...
happier things.
Happier things, yes. Rogue One, Suicide
the Beard
Squad.
The Beard finally saw Rogue One.
I finally saw it, yes.
And I saw it again, too. And my second experience erased, or at least will trump the previous experience. No horrible parents, no horrible children.
Yeah.
Just pure movie watching.
So let me tell you about my theater experience first.
All right.
Because
I told mine.
Yeah, because it's very quick and mine was very surprising from beginning to when the movie started there. So I went to a local movie theater that's had some recent upgrades that I did not know about.
Okay.
So we get in there and we say, 2 tickets for Rogue One. They say, okay, pick a seat.
Yes, I've done.
I've heard of people
one of
doing
those.
that.
Yes,
because we don't live in a huge metropolis. too many comic book movies. Everything's Metropolis now. We don't live in a big city,
Right.
let's say. So I've heard about places like Atlanta, Charlotte, places like
Yes.
that. When you go see a big movie, you pick your seats.
I've been to a theater, and this was the weirdest one. It was in, I'd say, 30 or 40 miles south of Atlanta, but they were still doing that.
Okay.
And it wasn't just a big movie.
Okay.
I think this theater I went to is the one I went to see Yoga Hosers in. They did it for every movie.
Okay.
So I was surprised.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, so we picked our seats, and we're like, all right, this is kind of weird. The ticket price was $8.03.
Okay.
Instead of $8.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, what's with the... I mean, I didn't ask the cashier, but asked my wife, I was like, what's with the 3 cents extra there? So we go to the actual theater itself, and one of the ushers sits us.
Oh.
We got a
that didn't happen to me last time. We had to find it.
Yeah. And it was a recliner, basically.
That is that.
With the little keypad on the side where you can send it up, down, all that.
I hope you didn't fall asleep.
No, I didn't. No, but my wife has a picture of me. I look like, I'm about an average height, average size guy, but I look like a little kid on this big thing. And then there's enough room in between you and each row where if you do have to get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, you don't have to walk over people.
Oh.
There was a dad with 2 kids in front of us, which made me think of you. But if they made any noise, I don't know. Because the space difference, you don't... I tried to make a couple funny quips during the movie to my wife, and she was like, huh? Can't hear you. What? You feel like you're almost a mile away from each person. You're having your own personal movie experience.
And that was for $8.03.
That was for $8.03. So I will gladly pay that extra 3 cents.
I went to see... I had a similar thought with ticket prices.
Yeah.
I went to see Moana.
Okay.
And, it said $6, but not tax included. So it came to $6.48. I was like, why don't you just say it's $6.48?
Because that's what they used to do with movie tickets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care either way. I'm going to see the movie, but just, don't say it's
Yeah.
put the price. I think movie theaters are the only ones where you can put the weirdest prices and just say that.
Right, yeah.
Because when you go buy stuff or go to a restaurant, there's going to be tax and all that stuff. It's not going to be $17.99. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
But in movie theaters, when it says that,
that's what you pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels a little off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
But yeah, so I ended up having a great experience watching it. Towards the end, though, for the last 12 minutes, I did have to put my seat all the way up just because of how intense everything got.
So what did you think of Rogue One?
So just my general non-spoiler type opinion about it there is this is the Star Wars movie made for Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I thought the whole time, I can't imagine anybody who's new to Star Wars that will like this as much as someone who does.
Yeah, because as a movie, if I were just to grade it as a science fiction fantasy movie, it was all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't stellar. It wasn't great. If you didn't know anything about the universe, the characters, anything like that, it has some cool battle scenes in it. But there's not
so
much for you.
There's so much more that you need to know.
Right. And it helps if you know the prequels and the original trilogy.
You just have to tie it just helps to know everything.
Right, yeah.
Or something or everything.
Yeah.
And I thought that the first time I watched it, I thought, man, I highly doubt there's anybody in here going, oh, this is my first experience of Star Wars.
Right.
I wonder what is in store for me.
Yeah, you're going to come out of there more confused than you went in.
Or you want to watch them.
Yeah.
Which I can
definitely see that, because it does make you it made me want to rewatch A New Hope after seeing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there are kids seeing Rogue One and that's your first experience of Star Wars, hey, if it gets you to watch more, then all for that.
Yeah, I think if you're between 10 and 15 and this is your first Star Wars movie, you're going to come out happy because there is a lot of action in it. There's some funny parts without it being slapstick.
Yeah.
And it will make you want to watch more Star Wars.
However, if you're older...
Yeah.
But then again, if you're older...
Then you should have some Star Wars under your belt.
Yeah. Otherwise, you clearly can judge for yourself whether this is your thing or not.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoyed it. I thought the characters were really well done for the purpose of the film.
Oh, yeah.
I know before, I went to see it, we were just joking around. thinking, I wonder if they're gonna make it. And and a good amount of us looked at that person that asked the question, and we, very sarcastically but realistically saying, "Did you see him in the original trilogy?"
Exactly.
No. There's probably going to be a reason why.
Yeah, that's why they should have. It should have been Suicide Squad, a Star Wars story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the suicide.
Right.
But who's your favorite character?
Oh, I can't think of his name now.
Which one?
The blind Force user or Force feeler.
I know his name looking at it. I just don't want to say it.
Right. That's how this one. They took a lot of liberties with names.
Yes,
it seems.
I can see it.
Yeah,
and I can somewhat spell it, but I just don't want to say it.
Right.
I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, that's how I am about.
But I just call him Donnie Yen.
Yeah, him and his buddy.
Yeah.
Were my two favorite characters.
Yes.
Definitely.
I am one with the Force with me. I am one with the Force with me.
Yeah, that is going to be my 2017 mantra.
I am one with the Force with me. I am one with the Force. I loved K2.
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk's K2.
Yeah.
It's really it was such a nice departure from the droid we all know. It's C-3PO.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say like R2 and BB because they're a little different than
they are. Yeah.
The droids that actually talk. It was such a nice difference because he was not that friendly.
No, and I don't think it spoils anything to say what his previous occupation was. He was a Imperial droid before he got reprogrammed and used for the good side.
I love that he was not very friendly.
Right, yeah. Which
he had an attitude.
Yeah, when you think of, Wash from Firefly, you think of this nice, friendly guy. So when I heard that he was playing a droid, I was expecting an American version of C-3PO. Yeah,
but he was not.
Not at all. No. Yeah, and when she shoots that other one, he was like, "Did you know that wasn't me?"
And then at the end, don't worry, Jen, I will be here with you.
Yeah,
because Captain Andor told me I had to.
Right. Yeah. So he's part of the reason that I enjoyed the comedy in this movie because it wasn't. I love R2-D2 and C-3PO. But they are very Laurel and Hardy, slapstick comedy, very right in your face sort of thing. His was more dark humor.
Yes.
Some of the stuff you actually had to think about for a minute. Like, did he just? Oh, he just said that. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. I really enjoyed Bodhi.
Mm-hmm.
I thought his story was pretty cool for what they gave.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I would say about the film. In not a critiquing kind of way, but if I had to say something that wasn't like, oh my god, I loved it, was the characters weren't 100% fleshed out.
Oh, that's,
but it didn't matter to Star Wars fans.
Right.
Because we don't say we don't care.
Right.
But it was like we already know what they were there for.
Right. We know what their fate is. Yeah. So, we don't want to get too attached.
They tried to do a little more with Jin. So I guess I was a little disappointed in the development of Jin because that was the character the poster of the movie.
Right, yeah.
And it kind of falls with the others. It's like we just
I expected it to be her story.
Yeah.
And
which it
kind of was, but not in the same way like Force Awakens.
Yeah. Or any of the
other ones. Yeah.
For a matter of fact. But I thought it was going to be something like that.
Right.
And it wasn't, but it didn't deter me.
Right, yeah.
Because I will watch this movie again a lot.
Yeah.
And, character development aside, it's still great.
Yeah, but don't get us wrong. It does show that she is important to the story. She has to be there. It can't be somebody else.
That's true.
Who does this?
But just stuff like that was where I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be, you were going to be this person of just this movie.
Right.
But hey, whatever.
Yeah. So
again, didn't take me away from the movie, but I just that was one expectation that did not meet.
Mm-hmm. So I think we'll go ahead and slip right into spoiler mode.
Darth Vader comes in.
Yeah. So the first thing that any spoiler review about this movie has to say is everyone dies.
Yes.
This is true Suicide Squad.
Again. Did you see or hear about them in the original trilogy?
Right. But I thought, you see so many droids in the background of the original
trilogy. You
could have saw K2. K2 could have been there.
And then your thought was, and then they heard you said, okay, we'll make him the first one.
Right, yeah. And his is a suicide mission. He sacrifices himself for everyone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, you took the droid out. That means nobody's safe. I
Yep.
thought Joss Whedon wrote this after seeing it.
and the most shocking one was the way Bodhi went.
Yeah.
You know, with K2 getting, going down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen and his buddy going out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
Especially his buddy, doing one last stand.
Yeah, I thought for one moment he was actually going to make it. And maybe he just dies of old age between the films.
But
no.
But the way Bodhi was just straight up, grenade in the ship, blows up.
Right, yeah.
I just felt like, wow, I didn't expect you would live.
Right.
But I thought you would have went out a little better than that.
Well, that part...
But don't worry, he did his mission before that. So.
Right. But the way he died, it almost made me think watching it, and this is the most minorest of gripes, it almost looked like the writers forgot to kill him and then came back. They were like, oh yeah, we gotta get rid of him. Throw a grenade at him.
Because I thought Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso was the, the hero's goodbye.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they had that big, I love that they didn't put a romance in there, even though it did look close, like they were going to do that a few times.
Yeah.
And some people have criticized the hand-holding at the end.
Really?
Yeah. Because of it being quote-unquote romantic. I'm like, no, it's just...
No, they're about to die.
People who are about to die in a very terrible way.
What's wrong with embracing each other?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, no. I had heard that gripe before I saw it, and then when I saw it, I'm like, I don't see what the issue is.
Yeah. Another gripe that I didn't think was a big deal, but what world do we live in where people don't have gripes, even though we are given such wonderful things?
Yeah, but that tells you something about how great this movie is when people have to nitpick.
Yes.
They can't just say, oh, the acting was boring, the special effects were horrible.
Yeah.
None of the gripes I've heard were big gripes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tiny things.
Tiny
But
things,
one thing, so the Vader scene.
Yes.
When he's choking out Krennic.
Mm-hmm. And he tells the dad joke.
People had a problem with that. And
I love the dad joke.
I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah, that when I heard that, because I saw opening weekend, so I heard everything was still fresh.
Right.
So I'm watching that scene, and then Krennic chokes out.
Yeah.
And then you see Darth Vader, and that his hand was obviously in a motion to choke, and he goes, "Be careful not to choke on your aspirations."
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
The audience I saw it with laughed at that part.
I just remember not having a problem with it.
Yeah.
And then of course there were people going, "Oh, Darth Vader doesn't make funnies." I think he could once in a while.
He's a dad. He can make dad jokes.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like...
And some people thought it was so weird that he would, live on a planet like... Or if it wasn't, or like the one where he got burnt to near death.
Right. Well, to kind of... Let me push up my glasses here and get my pocket protector out so I can geek out a little on why they chose that. Within the Star Wars universe, if you are a, Sith or a dark user of the Force, you want to be where the most hate is.
Yes.
So where you feel the most hate. So where are you going to be? The place where you lost half your limbs.
I thought of it even beyond Sith lore. It was like, well, you are a general of pretty much a, dictatorship regime.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing terrible things. If there's one place you gotta get in that mindset, might as well be.
It almost
you don't want to live in a place where puppies and rainbows.
Exactly, yeah. You can't live with Supergirl.
Yeah.
You have to live with Saruman.
Yeah.
Because it did have a very Lord of the Rings type look to it to me, which is not a complaint.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of Tarkin?
I didn't have a problem with it.
Neither did I.
I don't know where some people... I knew he was CGI, because I also know the actor is dead.
Right.
And not dead like Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
He has been.
Peter Sellers has been gone for a while.
Peter Cushing.
But
Peter Sellers is also dead.
Good.
They're both dead.
I didn't want to accidentally kill somebody off there.
Oh no, they both been
dead.
But Peter Cushing hasn't been dead.
Yeah.
Even if he was alive, he wouldn't look like that.
Right.
So I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Did I know CGI? Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't like...
I think all things considering, it looked pretty good.
Right.
But did I know? Sure.
Right.
But whatever.
It didn't look forced. It looked like it belonged there,
It's just whatever. He was there.
And also, when you have a CGI face like that, that's that realistic, the trick is you don't look them in the eyes for too long, because that's when you lose if it's human or computer there. And I didn't. And now I do think when he was kind of in the shadows, it looked better. It looked more realistic than when he was full on in the light, but that's to be expected.
Right.
You know.
What did you think of what did you think of how well it ties into A New Hope?
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew, everybody knowing this will know it does tie into New Hope.
Yeah.
I just didn't expect it to tie in like that.
Yeah, some people were calling this like Star Wars 3.5. Yeah. I think it was more like 3.9.
Yeah.
Because it's like you could stop this movie and go right into New Hope.
And I did.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they did a good job on that.
Yeah.
And I know that wasn't the original ending, but I'm like, well, whoever called the audible on that is amazing.
Yeah.
You deserve a raise.
Yeah. They were like, no, we want this to go into A New Hope. Yeah.
But I had mentioned this to you before.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to ever want any reason to somewhat redo the original trilogy, it's for scenes like when Vader was going off on those rebel
showing his powers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because... And, I understand this on a technical level, but when they made Vader's costume back then, it was as heavy as it looked.
Right.
And there were no real emphasis on combat choreography back then.
Because if you look... basic sword fighting sort of thing, yeah.
Vader was just intimidating because of his presence. But there were no... At least when I was a kid, there were no scenes to really be afraid of.
Right.
Other than, when you see him choke people out.
Yeah, he can choke you from a distance. That's,
Exactly. And it doesn't help that in recent years, because Disney bought Star Wars, that Vader is the one hugging children at Disney.
Right.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Gets the fans in.
Yeah.
But doesn't make me scared of Darth Vader.
Right. Yeah. You don't see Darth Maul hugging people.
No.
Yeah.
No. But that scene, when he takes on the Rebel fleet...
Yeah, he means business.
And I was going, yes, finally, my wishes come true on Darth Vader. Because not only was he doing more than just, holding his, lightsaber with two hands, he was, using his force powers.
Yeah.
And, whipping his lightsaber around.
Throwing people around.
Whipping his lightsaber around like he's like, yeah, of course I do this.
Yeah, I've been using this thing forever now.
Exactly. It felt like this was Darth Vader.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe they could redo the original movies by adding extra scenes.
Yeah, add extra Vader.
Extra scenes of like, oh, well, this was what Vader was doing, and then just do stuff like that, and then we go back to the original.
Yeah, there you go.
And going with that, I enjoyed how they used footage of the Rebel pilots for this. Yeah. Because I remember watching going, the tint on your face doesn't look like a movie that's made today.
Right, yeah.
But did that take me away? No, I thought it was awesome.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it just shows that...
Because it visually ties you into the original.
It visually ties you in and just shows that Disney made a good investment.
Oh, yeah.
And they made a good investment with who they hire, because something like that could have been easily filmed with someone else, recasted, or not even care. They could have used different people.
Yeah.
But it shows that, they know who they're selling this movie to. And, whether you got it or not, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I love the practical effects, too, where they use, either they use, original props, or they use the molds or designs from original props to create stuff for this movie, so it's still... all ties within the same universe and, the same look.
What was your least favorite Easter egg or cameo? Or nod?
That is a tough one there.
I'd say for me, and when I say least, I felt like there were so many things that was coming on. That, at some point it just felt too much.
Yeah.
And I thought for me was seeing R2 and 3PO.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that was cool, but you didn't need them.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to say, but then in my mind I was like, did I imagine them in the movie?
Because everything else with Mothma And Jimmy Smith is Organa.
Mhm.
Even the quick cameo of the "he doesn't like you" guy.
Oh yeah, no, I like that one.
I love that one,
Yeah.
but I thought 3PO and R2 was like, love you guys. Thanks for coming by.
Right.
But I feel like you didn't need them.
Yeah, it's like, do you have to have them in every Star Wars thing ever?
And Disney's saying, yes,
we do.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So that would be.
Yeah, if I had to cut something out, I would definitely cut them out of it.
And
They
I
didn't
thought of-
add anything to
And
it.
I thought of like, man, the "he doesn't like you" guy must have left immediately after bumping into them.
Right.
Because that city went bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah, because we see him again.
You see him again.
Yeah. He just doesn't like anybody.
Doesn't like. I remember just going, oh my god, you're putting that guy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And his friend.
Right. Yeah, it's like Disney said, okay, we own all these characters now. Let's pepper them in there wherever we can.
And while I never watched the CGI Clone Wars series,
Mm-hmm.
I watched Gennady Tartakovsky's, the little 3-minute ones that
Right.
tied into episode 3.
Mhm.
But I never watched like the CGI one,
Okay.
mainly because they threw too much for me.
Yeah.
The whole Anakin having a Padawan thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, I've tried to watch it. And then also, from what I hear, you can't watch it in order to actually watch it chronologically.
Yeah.
And that, when I saw how you have to watch it, I'm like, no, that's too much work.
Exactly. I'm not watching Rebels.
Mhm.
I don't know why, but just not on my list.
Yeah.
But I do love that they are taking characters in those series,
Right.
like with Saw Gerrera.
Mhm.
Yeah, whenever I learned that was a character, they said, "Oh my God, it's from so and so." I was like, "Oh, wouldn't have known that." But I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're paying attention
Mhm.
to your other properties of Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of goes with what we started with about, Easter eggs and nods or whatever we want to call them, where it's like, if, you're like us and didn't really catch it, fine. But if you're a fan, then you're like, that's for you,
Yeah.
right there.
So I'm hoping maybe it's not going to make me watch the series,
Mhm.
but if like the next couple Star Wars wants to add characters that you don't normally see in the movies,
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Bar them from dying in their own series. of
Well,
course.
yeah. Yeah.
But just the fact that you're not just saying, oh, there's just this TV stuff. Who cares
Right,
about
yeah.
that? Much like a little bit what Marvel's doing lately with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh,
Yeah.
I can say it. Come on, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I can say this stuff.
Yeah. They're your people.
Chloe Bennett's been saying it, so
Yeah. So get on it, Marvel.
Yeah.
You're
Which are
both
owned by Disney.
Disney, so yeah.
But
So what did you so let's talk about the very beginning and very end here real quick. The very beginning, there's no scrolling text.
I didn't care.
I didn't care either, but I did think it was kind of jarring going from the long time ago in a galaxy far, far away to straight to the loud boom and then showing the space like it always.
Didn't bother me.
Mm,
I think because A, I knew it was going to be a standalone feature,
right.
and then B, that they said there wasn't going to be one.
Yeah.
But I was okay with that because it's not Rogue One episode something something,
Right.
Star Wars episode something Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Rogue One.
Rogue One. Yeah.
So I was okay with the notion of no scroll.
Yeah. Yeah, I was I'm glad I knew before going in because I would have definitely been looking for it.
Mhm.
But I think it was more just the audio part
Yeah.
where it just goes from silence to boom, gets you right in there. So
Anything else to really point out?
well, I like that Vader's the only Jedi
Yes.
in it.
Yes.
Because as far as they know, the Jedi are gone.
And
you
they've
know.
said that many times.
Mhm. So the Force is more like a spiritual
I want
type
the
thing.
force with me.
So it's more of a Buddhist type thing within the Star Wars universe, and I like that they seem to have gotten rid of midichlorians.
Yes.
So we've deleted that, and the Force still exists, but not everybody is clamoring for it, and
Yes.
hitting light swords with each other.
What did you think the first time you saw Vader come out and talk to Krennic? Because you saw him in his tank.
Right.
Well, how did you feel the first time you saw him come out? The door open, the big white light, and he walks out.
Yeah,
Smoke comes in, and then you hear James Earl Jones' voice.
Yeah, I thought this is how you introduce Vader,
I
and I like how with the
I had
music-
chills.
Yeah, with the music, how they don't didn't go right into the Imperial March. They kind of crescendoed into it. Because at first I thought, well, there's Vader. Why aren't they doing? Oh, there it is.
It's one of those moments where it was like, wow, this was amazing.
Yeah, that's how you introduce a character.
I am jealous of Ben Mendelsohn to have been able to be in that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to go back in time, not watch the original trilogy, watch the prequels, and then this, and then... Because if that would have been my first introduction to Darth Vader, that would have been awesome right there.
That scene with Vader alone, and I'm still not talking about his attack on the Rebel fleet.
Right, oh yeah, that's before he does anything.
Like, he just comes in and talks.
Yeah.
And just the bravado of... They showed Vader.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I love all the talk about him up to then is all very vague. I mean, if you know Star Wars, you obviously know who they're talking about. Yeah. If you know even the slightest little bit about Star Wars, you know. But it's never, like in the A New Hope, it's always Lord Vader this, Lord Vader that, before you even see him.
Yeah.
This one is like, he needs to see this. He needs to see what you've done.
And then you're thinking, gosh, man, what happened? What would happen if they put the Emperor in this?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I'm still satisfied with what I got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, I went back and watched the first time you see that version of Vader in Episode 3.
Yeah.
And, I know it's the most joked about scene in movie history, but I still like it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, could they have done the no thing a little better? Well, yeah, but it's just, when they're assembling him and then, he's propped up and, then you hear the breathing.
Yeah.
And he asks Lord Vader, can you hear me? And then you no longer hear Hayden Christensen.
Right.
You hear James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
And for what it's all worth, that is still a great scene for Star Wars fans.
Well, Revenge of the Sith, I think, is the best of the prequels.
Which to some people that's not saying
not saying much, but I think Revenge of the Sith was more of a Star Wars film.
I think they upped the ante with the prequels in terms of special effects in a way, and I think for me they upped the ante of the lightsaber combat.
Right.
Because while the original had good scenes, but then you look at New Hope, you have a guy, David Prowse, who's probably thinking, why am I wearing this really large suit?
Right. Yeah.
I can't move. And then on the flip side, you have Alec Guinness going, this is ridiculous. I don't like any of this.
Yeah.
But I'm paid, so I kind of have to. But do I really? I don't know.
Yeah.
So you had two people who didn't care.
And you're going to fight with invisible swords because, they have nothing really to go on.
And then, up the ante for the second one because they were like, holy crap. This was popular. Yeah,
because Star Wars A New Hope was originally just called Star Wars.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Episode 4 or anything like that.
Yeah. So then, you still have Mark Hamill and David Prowse going at it. It was cooler.
Yeah.
But they were still basic sword fighting.
Right.
And it was still cool in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But again, basic sword fighting.
I mean, Luke gets like a flip in one of them. That's it.
Then you turn to Episode 1. For whatever jokes you want to say about it, for anybody. But that final scene with Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor against Darth Maul, I remember because that was my first Star Wars experience. So for me, when I was a kid, Star Wars never grasped me. It wasn't until Episode 1 that I got interested.
Okay.
So seeing so that was my first lightsaber battle.
That's a good one to start with.
And I was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's what I would say the prequels did. It upped the ante on that. Because if you see Force Awakens, similar stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what they do with the next ones as far as, lightsaber combat.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems
because by the time the prequels came out, you had people who are such fans of the series to care about how this plays out.
Right.
And obviously we got that in Rogue One.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Not with lightsabers, but just...
Not with lightsabers,
but just the continuity.
Right. Yeah. There was, I think there's really about the perfect amount of dialogue in this movie, versus action scenes. Because you don't need something, like, one thing, if I had to make a great gripe about Star Trek, it's very dialogue heavy.
Oh, no, that's why most people don't like Star Trek. That's why people like the JJ Star Trek.
Right, yeah, because there's definitely more action.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, that's why I like have a respect for Star Trek now.
Yeah.
JJ fixed one big gripe that Star Trek has had for many years.
Yeah. Yeah, because with some of the series, you could watch an entire episode and not see any action. With Star Wars, though, it's been very action heavy, and I think this one gave a nice medium between. Because, like you were saying in the prequels, there's a lot of action, there's a lot going on, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's supposed to. In the original trilogy, there's a lot of dialogue with a couple sword fights.
Yeah.
This one is right there in the middle, and it fits perfectly.
But last thoughts on Carrie Fisher in Rogue One?
The very last scene, yeah. So they surprise, they get the Death Star plans.
I did not think they would go that far.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that it does eventually go to Leia.
Yeah.
But I did not expect to see.
I didn't expect the handoff to be in this, Because even when I was talking to you and one of our coworkers about it before, she kind of let it slip that she said that she believed Carrie Fisher did the voice of Princess Leia, but that was all she let slip.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what that really meant. I thought maybe it was going to be like a voiceover type thing, something like that. So yeah, when I saw that, and I saw it just a few days after she had
that's the
passed away.
terrible thing.
Yeah.
That's the terrible thing at timing in the year of 2016, which we are not in anymore.
No.
But, I watched Fuller House.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan Thicke is in an episode.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, it was like, hey, Alan Thicke, what's up, man? And then I had a friend who watched it, or even you.
I watched it, yeah.
And he's dead.
Yeah, it was like a day or two after he died. I was like, what is going on here?
And then
and it was almost jarring seeing him in there, because it was like, logically, I know this was filmed before you passed away, but at the same time, it's like, how can you be in this?
And the same thing, again, I watched Rogue One. There was that scene. It wasn't really Carrie Fisher. We know that.
Yeah.
But just the notion of like, oh my goodness, they got,
It was a very well done CGI of Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, yay!
Yeah.
You watch it.
Yeah. It's like...
She had died.
Yeah, I had tears at that point. I was like, that moment became even more powerful at that point than it would have been, the week before.
Mm-hmm. Because it was just a cool cameo when I saw it.
Yeah.
It's a tearful goodbye when you saw it.
Right, yeah.
But that's life.
So yeah, but I think it was very well done. It's a very short scene, so you really don't even have time to be taken out by the CGI of it.
But again, it goes on that this movie was made for people who know Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, because if you don't know Star Wars and don't know who she is at the end, it does nothing.
And also, who cares?
Right.
By that point in the movie, he's like, who cares? She could have done a whole monologue. She could have said nothing.
Yeah.
Who cares? We got Princess Leia.
Right. Yeah. So, all in all, very great movie. Can't wait to buy it on Blu-ray when it comes out.
Can't wait to see episode 8.
Can't wait
for
to
many
see
reasons.
Yeah.
But it is the final performance of Carrie Fisher, so that has that going on now. Mm-hmm. But still, we're in 2017. It's closer now. Yeah. As opposed to if we talked about last year, it was like, oh.
Yeah, last month we were a year away. Now we're only 12 months away.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, but it feels different.
Join us next time, because I believe the next time we will be able to talk about stuff, it will be about S.H.I.E.L.D.
That sounds good.
They come back.
They come back before anybody else.
Yep.
So, until then, may the Force be with you.
Yes.